The system has deliberately been rigged. It has been designed, in other words, when Kenyans were looking at where my brother played a wonderful role when we are drafting the Constitution. I remember how many times it would be in Naivasha. He was young, you know, the capacity, you could see it. We are moving in this direction. We are going to set up structures. We'll have a DPP. We are going to have separation of powers. We are going to make sure that everything is going to be done openly. There's going to be availability of data, information. The laws were passed where you get government. The truth is, Ayub, the system was rigged in such a manner. Number one, money has to be raised by certain individuals who make sure that certain individuals win elections. All right? After members of parliament are elected, when we go for induction, never ever do you find a place or a meeting where there's a discussion where members of the National Assembly are told, you are going to stand for the people. Your job is to stand for the people. You contain the excesses of the executive or the excesses of the president, but you make sure that you also create the agenda for the nation. Basically, what happened is that once we came in and we became members of parliament, first we made sure we argued according to our political parties. Members of the National Assembly don't understand that even when we were going to deliberate and come up and pass laws for our political party's agenda, the reality is that the same National Assembly has got the responsibility and role of impeaching a president. So if your president breaks the law, then you as a representative of the people have the capacity, should have the capacity to go beyond your party and your tribe and say you have broken the law and we can remove you legally. But what has happened? We have turned our tribal engagements, we have turned our mentality of becoming primitive accumulators of cheap wealth. We have turned that advantage and made sure that we have taken ourselves to a position that whoever, that's why the question of the winner takes it all comes in. We design our elections and we design our strategies in making sure that we are going to have the winner who comes in. That is why Deputy President Gachagua would publicly stand up and look at Kenyans in the eye and say, you know what, this is our what? Our company, and we are shareholders. Right now we are 2. The rest of you 48, we have no business discussing with you. That's why he has that courage. That is why state resources are collected. The National Assembly, which is supposed to moderate how these resources are shared, equitably, if not equally. And when opportunities come for employment, there's nothing. Money is shared, people receive the cash, they take anybody who's brought irrespective of his character. So I agree with Senior Counsel. If you look at Kenyatta's government, look at the people with him, half the cabinet were PhDs. Look at Moi's government, half the cabinet were professors. Move on, come to the Uhuru government. Things then went to a standstill. You had at least Uhuru had the leftovers from the Moi regime. He had clever people who were guiding him. He had the Matiangis who were able to influence and in fact stand up and say, this is something we can morally do. Then after that, what happened? Every single person that the president put into the cabinet is somebody who invested in presidency. It did not matter what his character was. It did not matter what he had done before. And it didn't matter what he would do in the future. They were to recover the loot which had been spent to get people elected. And that is how our country has been running for the last 50 years. And unless we change that infrastructure, Kenya cannot move.